stream via Clubhouse our morning meeting so that there's one more way you guys are getting a daily dose of some good motivation. And let me see here, I'm going to probably pull somebody up to be a moderator in just a second so that we can get a little bit of dialogue going this morning. But the first thing I want to say is, hold on just a second. I'm going to invite Julian up as a speaker here in just a second. Hopefully Julian will mute himself when he comes up. There we go. All right. So first thing we're going to go over this morning, I was listening to a podcast. Me and Sid were on the way in, and this was an interview from, man, I can't remember the guy's name that did the interview, but he's interviewing John Lee Dumas. Anybody that does any podcast listening has probably listened to John Lee Dumas, because he's been interviewing a lot of great people for a long time. Been a big podcaster for a long time, and he said something that resonated with me, and I've been talking about this a lot lately. People that think you have to diversify and do a lot of different things to build generational wealth, and my opinion is that at least in the beginning, you have to really zone in and perfect one thing. And he said, you need to go an inch wide and a mile deep. And then he elaborated and said, if he could follow one piece of advice all the way back to when he started, all over again, it's to become the best solution in the world to a niche problem so that people will beat down your door for help later on. So I thought that was, very interesting, cool thing it's just further elaboration on what Ed Mylett said the other day. I think I shared with you guys about how Ed Mylett said, a lot of people say you have to have 7 streams of income, but he said most wealthy people actually perfected, or as close to perfection as they could get, one stream first and really scaled it before they began to diversify into other businesses. They didn't just start off and say, like he's involved in 23 businesses. He didn't start out involved in 23 businesses. That doesn't make any sense. Like, hey, I'm broke, I'm going to start 23 businesses. That's stupid. But a lot of young people hear the Warren Buffett quote, you need 7 streams of income, and that's what they try to dive into first. But that's not the way to go. So become the best solution in the world to a niche problem. Julian actually is up here, and I'm going to unmute him, or he's going to unmute himself. And he knows a little bit about that. He's been trying to dive into one specific niche for a little while. What do you think, Julian? You've been trying to get into one niche?
Yes, sir. I totally agree. I think, especially when it comes to money, if you're in a certain vehicle, like let's say, you're working for Justin Brown, and you're in his office, and the one thing you want to work on is obviously sales, increasing your sales, until you get that flow down. And once you get that flow churning, the money's coming in. Then if Justin has some other streams available in the company, and other ways to diversify your income, maybe you add on, I don't know, final expense or annuities or whatever you guys are doing, or some sort of investment opportunity, or move up in the company. That's when you can start to, after you get that first flow down, really diversify and move on to that next piece in the puzzle.
Boom. That's what I'm talking about, Julian. Well, this is something we're trying to, explore trying to get information out in real time and allow some other people to partake in our meetings. And so we're going to try to brainstorm about other ways to incorporate Clubhouse into this. But if you're not on Clubhouse and you're watching this from YouTube later on, get on, download the app. If you download the app, it's easier to invite you and give you one of our invites, so we can get you on here. We want to get more people that are in the space so that we can share ideas and communicate with one another. And I hope this little tidbits helped this morning, and I hope it encourages more of you out there to hop on Clubhouse, because this room's actually filling up pretty quick, and it's a great way to get engaged with us as well as some other people. Question? Yeah, Julian, go ahead, man.
I was going to ask you, especially with like LOAs, at what point do you transition them from, okay, you're writing Medicare, to, okay, let's add on some final expense or add on some annuities? When do you make that transition? Because I know it can be a lot for people to do both things at once.
So normally when we start out, like Jackson Taylor, who's in this group right now, is a newer agent. I try to start him out on rewriting Medicare supplements and then cross-selling niche products like dental, vision, hearing, and cancer with savings. That's the number one niche. When they've really mastered that, then we try to start talking more under 65 health, because it's just a parallel stream. We're getting a lot of those leads, and then also the spouse in the house, as Galen Hendricks says, would always be an easy pivot sale. Then we kind of dive more into life, and annuities is that top tier that right now it's really only a couple of us doing it. And what we do is we tell them if they find an annuity prospect, they can bring it to somebody that's doing annuities, and they can get a piece of the commission just for finding the lead, because it does get pretty convoluted to involve everyone in the annuity process at this point. Of course, you know, there's always the potential that someone could do that if they expressed interest and really wanted to dive into it. But as Rob will tell you, it can get pretty complex when you start dealing with a lot of different financial scenarios. So good question, Julian. All right, well, this is a good sample size this morning. We're going to try to do this more in the mornings and involve more people. Thank you guys for tuning in, and please go and follow the club, Insurance Influencers. It'll have the 8% logo on there. Just go and search for clubs and search for Insurance Influencers, and everybody that's in here should follow one another so that we can see when any of us are active and start building more communities that help each other. Thanks for being on this morning, guys. Cool.